Nuclear blackmail is one of the last cards the Kremlin is trying to play, experts say. Amid the failures of the Russian army on the battlefield and the solidarity of the Western anti-Putin coalition, Russia is scaring the world with a nuclear apocalypse. In the United States, they answer to Putin. If he decides to use the nuclear arsenal, it will not go unpunished.
I don't think that he will. I think it's irresponsible for him to talk about it. The whole point I was making was it could lead to just a horrible outcome. And not because anybody intends to turn it into a world war or anything, but just once you use a nuclear weapon, the mistakes that can be made, this miscalculation, who knows what would happen. He, in fact, cannot continue with impunity to talk about the use of a tactical nuclear weapon, as if that's a rational thing to do. Joe Biden, president of the USA, in an interview with CNN. Among all the reactions of the West to Putin's nuclear blackmail, I like the reaction of Joe Biden, the President of the United States, who may not have responded so sharply to nuclear blackmail, but very thoughtfully, clearly and strategically. He made it clear that the Pentagon is considering all options and taking all necessary actions to prevent such a threat from being realized. Moreover, it is precisely such statements that seem to me the most effective, because Putin, what is trying to do? He is trying to scare us with threats, because he is not able to realize these threats, and Putin himself is well aware of this.
In case of an order to launch a nuclear strike on Ukraine, NATO is also ready to respond to Putin. The General Secretary of the alliance does not specify the measures to be taken, but he assures that the consequences for Russia in this war will become irreversible.
We will not go into exactly how we will respond, but of course this will fundamentally change the nature of the conflict. It will mean that a very important line has been crossed. Even any use of a smaller nuclear weapon will be a very serious thing, fundamentally changing the nature of the war in Ukraine, and of course that will have consequences, and Russia knows there will be consequences.
Before the threat of a possible nuclear strike, European leaders are also ready to take responsibility for the challenges that Russia has thrown to the whole world.
All along, Vladimir Putin and his enablers have made one thing very clear. This war is not only about Ukraine. They consider their war against Ukraine to be part of a larger crusade. A crusade against liberal democracy, a crusade against the rules-based international order, a crusade against freedom and progress, a crusade against our way of life, and a crusade against what Putin calls the collective West. He means all of us. That is why Ukraine must prevail in order for liberal democracy and peace to prevail.
Experts have no doubt about the strength of the Western coalition. As one of the latest evidence, they recall the massive rocket attacks on the peaceful Ukrainian cities on October the 10th. After all, 3 days later, at a meeting in the Ramstein format, Ukraine's allies announced the supply of modern air defense and missile defense systems.
Here the question is rather about institutional readiness and, again, about making political decisions and managerial decisions. Because any, for example, technical development or carrying out any work is, first of all, the process of making and implementing these decisions. Regarding the institutional readiness of the European Union, the North Atlantic Alliance and assistance to Ukraine, I have absolutely no doubts.
Experts doubt the likelihood of Russia's use of nuclear weapons also for another reason. There is no current data on the state of the Kremlin's nuclear triad, and the Army of the Federation has shown the low accuracy and poor quality of Russian weapons during almost 8 months of the full-scale war against Ukraine. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Larissa Zubenko, UATV News.